LEGO has just released one of the best clone and droid battle packs ever, and today we're building the first half of a Naboo Swamp mock. There's a couple rules I'm gonna follow with this mock. First off, I can only use the minifigures from one of these battle packs, the 4 clones and 5 droids. And then the second rule is I have to use all the builds in this pack, the good and the bad. Stay tuned to find out the fate of these 4 clone troopers. First, I'm starting by placing bricks around the perimeter of the base plate. Eventually, these will be covered by a black border. The bricks running down the middle are an outline for a river, which will split the sides apart from where the clones start and where the droids start. For the landscape, I'm using a couple different shades of green and brown to really make it pop. I'm building up the terrain in several areas and making it as unrefined as possible, because flat is bad. This will give way more depth to this build. Since this is a swamp, it needs to look wet, and there need to be puddles all around. So on the lowest points, we're going to place these dark translucent pieces to look like muddy water. After all the terraforming is complete, we need to place plants all over to achieve the unlived swamp look that we're going for. To create some really cool trees, we're going to take these rigid hose pieces and stab them through these modified bricks with studs on every side. Next, I place 2x2 plate on every side. And then finally, I place slope pieces on the plates. I'm going for a really rough look with these trees. I could use smoother slope pieces and make it look really refined and nice, but my preferred look for this build is to make it look jaggedy and rough. With the trunk done, now we need to move on to the branches and leaves. For the branches, I used these clips with a tube and slid them onto the long bar pieces. Then those get attached to the round clip holders. The pieces that will actually hold the leaves are these 1x2 plates with clips. After attaching those to the end of the bars, it's finally time for our leaves. The leaves will consist of these large dark green plant pieces accented with some of these smaller olive green pieces. With the first tree complete, this is where the build will start to pop. I placed the tree right up front, really close to the river. Now, to cover up the bottom of the tree, I'll add a ton of sloped pieces all around to act as the tree's roots. After expanding the landscape in the back, I added a tree that's about a third taller than the first. Just like around the first tree, I built up the roots and plants around this one. It was right at this moment when disaster struck. I was moving the mock, and the large tree fell, hit the ground, and shattered. Alright, I quickly rebuilt the tree. That was super unfortunate that it fell over. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. It happened while I was moving it. But now it's time to add the first battle pack build to this mock, which will be this little defense post. As you can see, I put some mud on the shields and also wrapped a vine around the gun to make it look abandoned. The command post will go right in the middle between both trees. Now, let's find out what's happening in this swamp. After reports of droid sightings in the swamps of Naboo, the Republic has deployed a squad of 4 clones, led by a Coruscant Guard shock trooper, to investigate. The 4 troopers quickly fanned out to find good vantage points to scan the area. The shock trooper took cover behind an abandoned defense post where he could give orders from. The sharpshooter took cover behind a tree where he could scope out the area. And the clones on the speeder scouted around for any threat. Out of nowhere, a large blast hit the speeder. Both clones, getting up with just a few scrapes, had to scramble for cover, as they were now under heavy fire. At that moment, another large blast was heard, and they saw their squad leader, the shock trooper, flying backwards. He would not be as fortunate as the 2 clones on the speeder. Whatever took out the speeder and their squad leader was no simple battle droid. The sharpshooter trying to help lays down covering fire, yet he still does not have eyes on his foe. One of the troopers quickly takes cover behind a tree to regain his bearing, while the other notices a shield was blown off the defense post in the blast. He scrambles to get to the shield as he knows this could give him a fighting chance. Once the shield is retrieved, the trooper scurries back behind the cover of the tree so that they can formulate a plan of counterattack. What does fate have in store for these troopers? Let me know if you liked how I integrated a story with the build. I had a lot of fun shooting that. Unfortunately, this episode, I do not have enough pieces to create the black border or a river through or the other side, so make sure to stay tuned for part 2, where the story of what will happen to these 4 clone troopers will come to an end, and the mock will finally be complete. I will see you next time.